All right, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of SportsBook Sports, all things sports betting. Uh, I'm your host, Connor, with my boy here, GA.
Yo.
Today, a few topics on the episode. We're going to be discussing the matchups today in the NBA playoffs. Got 4 matchups lined up. You'll see all of our picks, player prop picks, everything we think about the games as well. And also we're going to be discussing, me and GA's here, our strategies when it comes to selecting these picks, and sort of how we go about figuring it all out.
Yeah, I mean, this is episode 2, so we did episode 1 the other day, just kind of kickstarting with the NBA playoffs. We're going to be focusing on that stuff for the next couple episodes because that's what we're really locked in on right now. We have a couple game 4s, a couple game 3s tonight.
Yep.
And then we'll definitely dive into more of just our strategies, kind of what we're seeing. And again, like we said in our first episode, we're trying to make this open for everyone. So if you're new to betting, we'll have some easier bets, the over-unders, this is the straight game lines. We'll also have more advanced stuff, player props, parlays, stuff like that for more advanced bettors.
Yep.
But yeah, if you have any input or anything like that, like let us know what you're putting in tonight.
Yeah, we'd love to hear any input from any of our viewers. Cool thing about today's episode too is we're going to be live streaming this to YouTube.
Yep.
Also with a little bit of background information if you're viewing to show you how to place some of these bets on FanDuel. So it's going to be more of an interactive stream. We'd love anyone's input that maybe has some bets, as Greg said, but also just to show you how we navigate through FanDuel Sportsbook, as we mentioned on our first episode. That's where all of our lines come from. And some of these bets that we do come up with, they can be difficult to find if you're not, in tune with what they have to offer.
Yeah, I mean, we're in New York State, so we can bet at casinos. We can't bet online yet. We can't bet on a mobile app. So we kind of do everything FanDuel. Just because it's easier for us. We think it's really the best one out there when it comes to like just the way they set up their website. And then they have some great odds on there. So you always want to shop your lines, but we're finding FanDuel always has a pretty competitive line. And we like the different options they have. There's tons of different bets for individual games as well as futures and parlays and stuff. So that's what we use when we look at everything. So any lines we give out today are going to be from FanDuel. If we're ever talking about lines and odds, it's usually from FanDuel. So just want to keep that in mind. You might be getting something a little different depending on what state you're at, what sportsbook you're at, whatever it is. But for us, it's FanDuel, New Jersey.
Yep. So just to dive right into it, as I said, we're going to discuss a little bit about our strategies when it comes to selecting games and how we go about picking what we end up coming up with.
Yep.
So, Greg, if you want to dive in a little bit deeper into that and just, from start to finish, give us an idea of where you go, what you look at, maybe certain websites to find information that people aren't, in tune to if you're a novice bettor. So, yeah, if you want to dive in a little deeper to that.
Yeah, I mean, so what I look at is if you're getting, you're just getting into sports betting or you've been doing it for a little bit, you're really going to be looking at 2 things. You're going to be looking at the game spread.
Yep.
So there's a favorite, there's an underdog. You're either minus points, you're giving points, or you're plus points, you're getting points. And then there's going to be the over-under.
Yep.
So that's both teams combined, their total score. And that ends in half. So what I think for Miami tonight right now, the total in that game is the first game, and it's 221 and a half. So you need 222 for the over. You need 221 for the under. So what I do is you can really look at a couple different websites. What I like the best right now is Action Network. I think that they just have a good layout. It's pretty clean, pretty straightforward. And then I look at 2 different things. I look at the percentage of bets, but more importantly, I look at the percentage of money. Mm-hmm. Just because people put a lot of bets in, there might be a lot of $10 bets. So that could throw off the percentage of bets number that's given from Vegas, or I guess at this point from all over.
Yep.
Percentage of money is what I really look for because it's something that we talked about a ton as we've been gambling for a while now. Vegas usually wants to get as close to 50-50 as possible.
100%.
That's where they're making their money. So when something's kind of out of whack or heavily bet one way, like last night, Brooklyn, I think it was like 90+% of the money was on Brooklyn. I'm taking Boston all day.
100%.
Just because whatever you think about the game, whatever you think about the players, at that point, it's just kind of a numbers thing.
Yeah.
And Boston ended up winning, so that was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and I think it's, to bounce off that a little bit, I think, as I said in the last episode too, Vegas doesn't stay alive. These casinos aren't popping up all over the U.S. because people are winning money.
Yeah.
That's
a great point.
It's unfortunate that that's the way it is, but that's the beauty in the action that people put in.
Yep.
But when you see those huge lopsided betting percentages in the money itself, it just makes for Vegas to just rake in money. Now it's a strategy that's not bulletproof.
No,
it's not foolproof. You know what I mean? There's going to be times where the public's right.
Yep.
That's what draws the people in.
Yeah.
But there's those times where they just smack you over the head, and it's like when you're at the roulette table and money's spread all over the table, but then there's that one number that has no money on it, and the ball just happens to drop right in there.
Yeah, I mean, to your point about like a lot of the money, the public being right, like that's like the Knicks so far, right? The Knicks, all the money was on them in game one, they end up losing.
Yep.
But game two, all the money was back on them, they end up winning. So, Vegas isn't always right, but
same with game three though.
Same with game three. All the money was back on the Knicks, right?
The Knicks had a good percentage of the money, and the Hawks came out and blew them out.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't even close. It was a 2-point spread, and I think they won by 11.
Well, I think it ended up being 4.
Oh, 4.
4.5, and then they dominated the game from front to back. The Knicks can't score the ball.
Yep.
But to your point, it looks like you go off Action Network, which I do the similar type search. I go to Action Network, or I go to a site called Sports Insights.
Yep.
And the reason I like Sports Insights is because it has percentages and the public money for like 7 or 8 different sports books.
Yeah, it can tell you each sports book.
It also shows you the line at each of those at any given time. So if you're an advanced bettor and you have access to all these sports books, as you mentioned, those 1 or 2 points sometimes can be the difference in Vegas making a lot of money or losing a lot of money.
For sure.
And ultimately, it's our money that we're betting and the individual's money. So if you can get better odds one place, it's in your best interest to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely shop a line if you have the option. Some of us don't have the options, though. Some of us, like we are in upstate New York, we drive to a casino.
Yep.
Whatever the line is at that sports book is the line at that sports book. They're all usually pretty close. Like you said, there might be a point or two different, which can make all the difference.
Half a point sometimes.
Half a point, but so you're not going to get robbed by going to one over the other, but if you have the option to, you definitely want to shop a line.
Definitely. Especially as you become more advanced and things like that, you want to just get the best odds that you can on any given bet.
Yeah, but just to your point, that was kicking us off. It was really just kind of an intro, basic level of what I look at sports strategy-wise. That's really what I look at is just the percentage of money, if I can get it. If not, just the percentage of bets, because they're usually pretty close. They're not always exactly the same, but that's really what I look at. And then usually I fade the public. Yeah. I mean, like you said, Vegas has been going strong. All these people aren't opening up businesses to lose money.
No.
So the public's usually wrong. And, again, strategy-wise, you obviously pick whatever you're going to be betting, and you don't bet a ton. So if you're what they call units, if your unit's $10, I don't just start betting $50 on the game. I bet 10 every time.
Yep.
This way, if I go cold and I lose a couple, I lose a couple. But I give myself enough runway where I can bet enough games that I usually end up on Vegas' side enough times that I can make my money and keep it moving.
Yep. I was going to say that's one thing that I want to stress is you can look at, as you dive deeper into sports betting, you'll see the public percentages, the amount of money and all that stuff is definitely strong to look at. But one of the main things is bankroll management.
Yeah.
You want to set aside, you got to look at it similar to what the stock market is. You're not going to hit these huge parlays every day to where you're just, you're making money overnight.
Yep.
What you need to do is set aside a certain amount of money. whether that's 500 or 5,000,
Yep.
depending on the size of better that you are. And normally you want to bet anywhere from 5 to maybe 10% of your bankroll, because in the long run you want to just continually add gains to your bankroll.
Yeah.
You're going to go on stretches where you lose some money.
Yeah.
But once you start winning, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to win the next one. I've won 3 in a row. That fourth one's going to hit. I'm on fire.
Yep.
And then you decide to up your units, and you literally just gave back everything that you've won.
Yeah, you're going to be hot. You're going to be cold. You just want to be consistent. That's the main thing. When you said a second ago that you're betting 5 to 10% of your bankroll, is that on a nightly basis or is that per game?
I would say that's normally per game.
Okay.
I'm a little more strict on myself as far as the amount of games that I bet.
Yeah.
Because you mention it all the time, is the length of play is what makes casinos win money.
For sure.
The longer you're there playing, the more that you're betting, the higher the odds favor them.
Yeah, Vegas wants you sitting at the blackjack table all night, the craps table, or in this case at the sportsbook putting in bets. They want volume.
They want you to put in 5 to 10 bets a day at most, or even more if you're that type of bettor.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is it's a 1 to 3 game a day.
Yeah.
And the goal is not to go over 3.
Yep.
But I would recommend the more games you bet, you lower your units per game.
Yeah.
Because then it's just going to scale out a little bit longer for you, and it gives you more of an opportunity to keep your money.
Right. To your point, like with these basketball games, especially us doing a podcast and YouTube video and all that stuff, we're betting every game, and we're going to have multiple bets every game.
Yes.
So before we started doing this, to your point, I would try to pick 1 or 2 of my best bets, my favorite bets every day. Here, I'm going to scale back my units a little bit.
Yep.
And then just try to, like you said, keep it under 5% of my bankroll, 10% of my bankroll every day. I pick one and stick with it.
Yep.
And I think tonight we have 4 matchups, and we have 2 bets for every matchup. I'm going to have either a spread or an over-under for each one. And then as well as a player prop parlay, which I love. That's one of my favorite things about the FanDuel app.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best parts about the app. But also one thing for our viewers is, as Greg mentioned, we're going to give out 6 to 10 picks for these 4 matchups. Most likely just going to be 8. But we don't recommend betting all 8. We are, because we've been doing this for a while, and that's the way we do it. Yep. As Greg mentioned, we're going to lower our units. So instead of betting 100 a game or 100 a bet, these bets are going to be $25, just to give you guys an idea of how much you should scale it back.
Yep.
So if you were planning on betting 2 games at $100 a pop, and we give you 8 bets and you want to tail all these bets, I would recommend doing $25 a game.
100%.
So you're betting the same amount in total.
Yep.
But it gives you more of an opportunity to make it back with all these potential long shot parlays that are the player prop ones.
Yeah, I mean, when we were betting college football this season or NFL for this season, it was spreads and over-unders. It wasn't any of this stuff. Yep. And so now that we're doing the podcast, we're trying to think a little bit more outside the box.
Yep.
We're looking at alternate lines. We're looking at all these different types of bets that you can do on FanDuel.
Yep.
So we're trying to give some more variety, because once you upgrade from that basic point spread over under and you start looking at all the options all these sports books have, you might find that you like player props. You might find that you like win totals. You might find that you like away team total points. Like there's a million different bets. So we're trying to do that. We're trying to give everyone, trying to show you what's out there. Yeah. So you can kind of figure out what you like.
Yeah, and to that point though, I highly recommend that you bet these parlays, conservatively. Yeah. If you're looking to make this a professional, become a professional sports gambler, I don't recommend putting parlays in on the daily basis. Nope. In the long run, you're going to make your money off individual bets. Yep. And with the opportunities that FanDuel gives you with these, player prop single bets where you can bet John Morant or someone like that to score over 20 points. Yep. If you see the value in one of those, I would bet those individually for your same units. Yep. But in the long run, as I mentioned, you're not going to make money placing parlays. Yeah. That's just something you do for fun. It's almost throwaway money, and if you hit, you're fucking hyped. Mm-hmm. And if not, you're pissed because you're just throwing away money.
Yeah, because as we'll get into it with these picks, like especially with the player prop ones, like it happened to me the other night with the 76ers game. Like the 76ers just get up by so much, they just take a beat out. Like I need 10 rebounds or 8 rebounds from a beat, and I don't think he played the fourth quarter or it came out middle of the third quarter. Yeah. So it's nothing against him. He didn't get hurt. It could happen to hurt. Russell Westbrook gets hurt the other night. That kills your whole night. So that's what's tough about the parlays. Again, for the basic people out there, parlays is when you just put together multiple bets.
Yep.
So if you put together multiple bets, it's called a parlay. Each part of that bet or each leg of that bet need to hit in order to get paid out.
Yep.
And your odds go up. You make a lot more money.
Yes.
But like to your point, they're long shots.
Yep.
So, if you take those and bet those on an individual level, you have a much better shot of going 3 for 5 or 3 for 4 or whatever it is and making money.
And coming out on top.
Yeah, because that one thing happens and Embiid comes out for no reason. Russell Westbrook gets hurt.
Yep.
You have no control over that stuff, and it just kills your whole night.
Yeah, and those are things you can't handicap prior to the game.
Yeah, you have no control over it. So it's one of those things, like you're saying, if you're going to be smart and you're going to be doing this long term, start with the bankroll. Take your bankroll, divide it, figure out what 5% of your bankroll is, 10% of your bankroll is. That's how much you want to be betting a night.
Yep.
And then find 2 or 3 bets that you like each night. And start there. It's an easy place to start. It gets you involved in the game.
Yeah.
And Vegas is really good at this, so all these are pretty close usually.
Yeah.
Vegas, again, they're not in it to lose money. They're also not in it to just be giving out bad lines. It's usually pretty close to what they're suggesting.
100%. Yeah, there's a big psychological part to this too, because everyone wants to hit that huge fucking parlay.
Yeah.
That makes them a ton of money.
Yeah.
But if you have a bankroll that's $1,000, don't think you're going to be making $1,000 a week until you can build that bankroll up.
Yeah.
People that trade stocks, they don't hit for those huge fucking 100% gains in a day.
No.
They're in it for the long run, and that's how you have to look at this. Continually build your bankroll up, so then those units gradually increase, and then you're making more money on a weekly or monthly basis compared to what you were in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people fuck up, is because they want to make big bucks quickly.
Sure.
And that's what gambling is all about. I mean, anyone gets caught up in that, but you need to steer away from that part of it and be less of a degenerate.
Yep.
And then focus on just gradually growing your bankroll.
Exactly.
But with that being said, I think we should just move on to the matchups for today.
For sure.
As we keep building off these episodes, if you guys have any topics you want us to discuss about, I think we're going to dive deeper into each specific thing that we've, breached the topic of today.
For sure.
As far as bankroll management, public perception, public betting percentages, all those type of things. That
the whole Vegas angle, we talk about that for hours at a time, about just the mentality that Vegas is trying to put out there of, keeping it close, but also just the different odds they get, the way Vegas goes about it. I think that's something that's like not talked about enough. So.
No, it's definitely not, because people don't think about it. Like I said, one thing people don't think about ever is, like, as I said, Vegas is built off people losing.
Yeah.
Sports books are built off that. Casinos are built off that.
Yep.
They want to suck you in, so you spend money there.
They want you to make you think that you're ahead of the game, but you're never really.
You're never ahead.
Yeah.
Nah, they're always taking your money, but you need to be, strict on yourself and focus on your plan. And you can make money in this industry. It's just you got to be very diligent about what you're doing.
Yeah, we have social accounts for all of this. You see them up there: SportsBook Sports, SportsBook Talks on Twitter, SportsBook Sports here on YouTube. So any topics that you want us to talk about, give us a comment, let us know, reach out to us, because we're trying to grow this up. We're trying to educate the community. We're trying to build a community here. So we're going to be giving out our picks every day, but we also want to be talking about sports betting because it's just what we love.
Yeah, and DM us at any time. We're pretty stand-up dudes. We'll definitely answer any message we get. So we look forward to hearing from anyone that wants to reach out.
Right.
But yeah, it looks like, what's the first matchup we're going to talk about today?
Matchup one today. The first game that kicks off 1:30. So afternoon game is the Bucks Heat.
Okay.
So we're in Miami for Game 4. The Bucks are up 3-0.
Yep.
And I mean, the Bucks are the favorite. They're looking strong. The Bucks are -5 tonight.
Yep.
Total is 221.5 for the over/under.
Yep.
And I don't know, what are you thinking? Like, are you thinking these guys are going to get swept? I mean, Miami Heat went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, or they won the Eastern Conference Finals. They went all the way to the championship.
They went to the championship last year. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely missing not a lot of pieces from what they had last year. They're just obviously not the same team. A lot of these guys got figured out. We've talked about Tyler Herro being a huge piece to them last year, coming off the bench and just being a spark.
Yep.
Something's obviously up with Dragic this year. I mean, last year he was an animal in the playoffs, and he hasn't even been starting there. But they've been starting Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah.
Obviously Oladipo's out, but with all that said, I don't think Jimmy Butler is gonna come out today and play lightly.
Yeah.
So I do personally. I'm taking the Heat. I think the line's moved up to 5.5 since we put this all together.
Yep.
Because on FanDuel, I believe they are 5.5 right now.
Yep.
So I'm taking the Heat plus 5.5. I don't see them getting swept. I would potentially sprinkle some on the money line too.
Yeah.
But I think the value is in the plus 5 for the Heat, or plus 5.5, wherever you find it at.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. I'm taking the Heat tonight. I just don't think Jimmy Butler and this team's Spoelstra too. I mean, Spoelstra's been doing this forever.
Yeah.
I don't think they're getting swept. So I like the Heat tonight, especially they're home, down 3-0. It's never been more must-win for them. So
yeah, and I just think they're gonna come out and play tough. The Bucks have been shooting lights out the last couple games.
Yep.
We spoke about it. I think the Bucks have a good chance at winning the East. They're a much more complete team than they were last year.
Yeah.
But scoring's one thing that they can struggle with at times.
Yep.
So I do see the Heat clamping down a little bit on defense and bringing a little bit more of a scoring output than they have in the past couple games. So
yeah, I mean, again, looking at the money, that's what I look at.
yeah.
So again, the percentage of money, 75% of the money's on the Bucks. That's kind of why I like the Heat plus all the other stuff we talked about.
Yeah.
And then we're not taking the over under, but again, I think I like the under in this game. My problem with that, what scares me at that's why I'm not taking it. 75% of the money's on the under.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think it's going to go under for all the stuff that we said. The Bucks maybe they are a great offense all of a sudden, but they really haven't been.
Yep.
For prior years, all the pieces that they added actually really complement what they had already really well.
Yeah.
So their team's looking good. I think they're going to make a run, but for tonight, just this one game, give me the Heat. And then I also have for each of these games, I'm going to have a player prop parlay. So, I mean, for me, I have Giannis plus 25.
Do you want to put that on the screen and show them?
Oh, yes. Yeah, let's go through that. So let's start right at...
Yeah, this is a cool feature I think we're going to bring into this part of the podcast, is getting a little more interactive, as we mentioned in the beginning, and show you how to navigate some of these bets on FanDuel's sports betting app. We are in New York, so we're not able to place these bets unless we take the hour drive down there, which is something we do just because of what FanDuel is able to offer and however many different fucking apps they have down there now. It's such a saturated market.
Yep.
But yeah, if you want to go ahead and show, the cool part about it is they have the calculator right on the side. It gives you the odds. It lets you weigh your value into it.
Yep. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can just really follow right along. So on the left side there, under the popular sections, the NBA. So we're going to click that. That'll bring us to our NBA page. And then the first game tonight is Bucks and the Heat. And then on the kind of the bottom right there is just more wagers.
Yep.
So when you click that, there's the popular ones, same game parlays. Where I go to first tonight is I'm going to look at points.
Yep.
And again, right down there is plus, so each section. So this is for people to score 10 or more points. You see these odds are very high because these guys should be scoring 10 points.
Definitely.
So because of that, I'm actually going to go down a little bit. I'm going to go to 20 points. I'm actually going to take Chris Middleton to score 20. I think that he's just been great for them this whole series. I think he's going to keep it up. And then I'm actually going to go 25 points. And I'm going to take Giannis.
Okay.
So that's just my scoring side. I think that, the offense really runs through Middleton at this point. And then Giannis is just going to get his. I mean, it's just, he's a superstar. He's an MVP level guy.
Yep.
And then, as you can see on the right, to Connor's point, so Chris Middleton to score 20 is minus 160. That means for every $100 you bet, for every $160 you bet because it's negative, you're going to win 100. For Giannis to score 25 or more, you're going to have to bet $240 to win 100.
Yep.
But then when you combine the two, this is what we're talking about, the parlays. If both of those hit, now it's plus odds. So for every 100 you bet, you're going to win $140.
Okay.
So I like that, but I'm going to take it one step further. And I'm going to go back up top here, and I'm actually going to click the more and the drop down. And I'm going to click player threes. I'm going to go to 3 or more threes. And then I'm going to take Duncan Robinson for 3 or more threes.
Got him going off tonight?
Yeah, I just think that he's going to get his. And what's nice about this, to like what we were kind of talking about before, so as you get more comfortable with this stuff, you'll notice that these negative odds or these favorite odds, that's kind of Vegas. The higher those numbers are, that's Vegas saying it's more likely to happen.
Yeah.
So for each of these, they're all favorites.
Yep.
So Vegas is kind of indicating to me they all should happen.
Yep.
They're close to 100, which is the even spot. At 100, it's a coin flip.
Definitely.
So, but as you go down this list, Chris Middleton's minus 160, Giannis minus 240, so that's more likely to happen. And Duncan Robinson minus 320, it's even more likely to happen.
Yep.
But then when you combine all three, you take 3 things that are likely to happen according to Vegas. Now you're up to plus 218. So for every $100 you're betting, you're winning $218.
Yep.
You know, rough numbers, for every $50 you're betting, you're winning $100.
Yep.
So that's going to be my player prop parlay. So that gets me 2 bets tonight on this game. One is the player prop parlay. The other is just, again, Miami.
Okay. So I do as well have a player prop parlay.
Okay.
Definitely a long shot. I wouldn't consider putting a lot of money on this.
Actually, you know what? Before you start, so just to finish this out, because we're going to be switching up, what's nice about FanDuel, again, I think they make it really easy, but now we want to get rid of my bets and add your bets in.
Yep.
You just click these red trash cans.
Yep. Deletes everything right there for you.
Clears it out. Our bet slip is now empty.
Yep.
And now let's go on to Connor's bets. Let's see what he's got tonight.
Yeah, as we mentioned, it's very user-friendly.
Yeah.
But my player prop parlay is going to be, I would first go to player points.
Okay.
I'm doing to score 30 plus.
Okay.
And I'm taking Jimmy Butler.
Okay. Plus 300.
Yep, plus 300. Then I would also go to score 10 plus points.
Okay.
And I would take Trevor Ariza.
Okay, so again, right here off the bat, Trevor Ariza, you don't see him because they list it most likely to happen to least likely to happen. So you have to hit the see more button. It drops it down, and then there's Trevor Ariza. So he's plus 200.
Yep.
Score 10 or more.
Now I would go to player rebounds.
Okay.
And I'm taking Bam Adebayo. It's actually alternative rebounds on the bottom.
Okay, so again, we have our regular rebounds here.
Yep.
But we're going to go down. There's Bam rebounds here, but we're actually going to go farther down.
Yep.
And then here we go, Bam alternate rebounds.
Yep. So to give you a little background on that is the alternate rebounds give you sort of a teaser, so to speak, which gives you lower or higher amounts of rebounds for this specific bet, but also changes the odds that you're getting when you place the bet.
Yeah.
So for this one specifically, I'm taking Bam to have 9.5, over 9.5 rebounds. So I think he's going to have 10 or more.
Okay.
And what are the odds on that?
That's plus 126.
Plus 126.
So again, pretty close to 100. So Vegas thinks it should happen.
Yep. And that equates to, I think it's like plus 2,700.
It changed a little bit, but it's up there. It's plus 2446.
Plus 2446.
So for every $100, you're going to win $2,450.
Yep. And I would recommend if you're a $100 unit better, I'd put anywhere from $25 on that to maybe 50 if you're feeling a little risky.
Yeah, and that's again just a great point that we mentioned earlier, but it's a great point to stress it here too. When you're betting these parlays, these are long shots. Each one of these is a long shot. Then you combine all three, it makes it very long shot. So
Definitely.
It's not as simple as the Miami Heat or the over/under.
Yep.
So scale back your units a little bit. All you need to do All you need to do is hit one out of every 20 of these, and you're making money. One out of every 24 of these, really, and you're making money. So if you bet the same thing every time, so that's why we want to stress it. Find your number, find your bankroll, and this is for fun. We're not, you're not going to make a career out of this unless you get real sharp and you're doing real well. Yep. But it's for entertainment. So find a number that you're happy with, bet it every night, and just make sure you're betting good every night.
Yeah, and if you're tailing our bets, I'd recommend, as we mentioned before, if you're taking, say for these first 2 games, you planned on putting $100 on either the total or the spread.
Yep.
I'd recommend betting $80 on the total or the spread, and then taking the parlay for $20.
Yep.
It's not a huge. It'll be a nice win. I think you'll end up winning like, what is it, $480 if that hits.
Yeah.
But it still gives you the opportunity to make money as long as the Heat spread wins. And if the parlay gets tossed, or if you win one or the other, you're going to come up money. So all you need to go is 1 for 1 on those bets. Obviously, the parlay being a little bit of a long stretch, still gives you an opportunity to cash in on this game.
Yeah.
So as we move on, I think we're going to go right to the next matchup. And as you'll see over the next couple episodes, we'll be doing a little bit of a recap on how these bets went. You can go back and always look at the recordings or re-listen to the podcast. And, we're about transparency here. We're not going to bullshit you or lie to you about our picks. It's one thing you'll see in the sports betting industry if you deal with some professional handicappers out there.
People selling picks.
Yeah, and that's another thing we'll get into down the road as we dig in deeper to this.
Yep. But yeah, matchup 2. Denver Nuggets, Portland Trailblazers. So far, it's been a pretty competitive series.
Definitely. How about Austin Rivers last game?
Going
off.
Yeah. Yeah. So for you, 4:00 game here. Denver's up 2-1. Portland's home. I like Portland in this one. What are you thinking on this?
The thing is, I'm going with the Nuggets. I think. The way they played last game and what I've been seeing of the Trailblazers, the Trailblazers, I feel like have been having a tough time scoring the ball outside of Damian Lillard.
Yep.
Because when the Nuggets play that next notch of defense, which you didn't see in game 1, but you saw in game 2 and 3, I think they're bought into it because they don't have the scoring that they used to have with Jamal Murray not being there.
Of course.
Now they realize we have to pick it up defensively.
And it has to be a team effort.
Exactly.
Before with Murray, maybe we could depend on him.
Yep. Just to create a little bit. They don't even have a playmaker on their team right now. Michael Porter's not a guy that you're going to give the ball to and make plays for other people.
Yeah.
Jokic a little bit. But even him, he's a guy that sets screens and does pick and pops and shit like that. He's not a true playmaker.
He's a good passer.
Great passer.
But he's not, like you're saying, a playmaker is a different level.
Exactly.
Where he can make something happen for someone else. Yeah, for sure. So, again, great team effort. Right now, again, when we made this, it was 4.5. I think we might have it at 5 now.
Yep.
But somewhere around there, depending on where you are. So we're opposite on that. I like Portland. I think they tie it up 2-2.
Yep.
I think Lillard has a great night. I think the offense will be there. But to your point, if Denver has that great team defense, it's tough for McCollum. It's tough for Melo. It's tough for all the players on Portland. Yeah. Damian's really the only one that can step above it.
Yeah.
And he's just that elite level scorer.
Yeah, and their offense, when you watch them, they're not a fluent offense, which I think has been something that equates to championships the last 5 to 10 years in the NBA. Like the Spurs used to be. They moved the ball well. The Warriors, they used to just swing the ball around the court and just get open shots. The Trailblazers, they just come up and play pick and roll basketball.
Yeah, and
every possession.
When you're in the playoffs, and like you're saying, when you're in the playoffs and you're also looking at, okay, maybe we can win a couple rounds here and make a run at this thing. For me, the way I look at it is you want your offense to be easy.
Yeah.
Because you want all your effort to be on defense.
Definitely.
So when you're struggling on offense and when you're sitting back and watching the game and it's like, God damn, like I was thinking when I was watching the Knicks, like it is tough for the Knicks to score sometimes.
They can't fucking score.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes when you're watching Portland, I agree with you, like it's tough.
Yeah, and like fucking Dame Lillard makes it look easy.
Well, of course.
Because he'll hit a fucking 40-foot bomb, a step back, all this shit that he puts into the game. But it's like That ain't easy to do.
No.
You know what I mean? Then he can't go back and play defense because he just had to put all of his effort in scoring the ball.
Yeah. So I still think that Portland gets it done. I think that they're gonna score a good amount tonight.
Yep. I mean, the thing is, I don't.
Any thoughts on the over under? I mean, 227 is just too high for me.
Yeah, I'd
that's
probably
why.
go with the under too.
Yeah. Again, we're talking about percentages of money and all that stuff. It concerns me a little bit. 60% of the money is on the Trailblazers.
Yep.
So that's a little bit better than 75%. When it gets above 80%, is when I think it's like a lock. You kind of have to just fade the public.
Got to.
But again, for the over under, to your point, under 227 here on the Action Network website is showing 228. So again, depends on where you're looking, but again, 70% of the money is on the under.
Yep.
So,
and I mean, that's the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if Portland comes out and wins this game. I just think it's going to be a close game to where that +5 is just enough for the Nuggets to cover.
Yeah.
But bouncing off that, considering what I have them to cover the spread, I have a single player prop bet.
Okay.
That I think is gonna.
Do you want to go back to this? Show this here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to putting in our bets on FanDuel. We'll show you how we do these. So again, back on the NBA page, we're gonna go to the Denver Nuggets' second game tonight. We're gonna click more wagers.
Yep. Shout out FanDuel Sportsbook.
Yeah, FanDuel, it's where it's at. And now you're gonna be giving me a player prop parlay. So let's hear what you have so far.
So as I said, I think considering even though the Nuggets are gonna cover the spread, I think. Damian Lillard's going to come out and have a huge game.
Of course.
So I'm going to take him player props 3-pointers.
Okay, so we're going to go to the more section, hit the drop down, go to player threes.
Yep.
Again, there's all these different options. You can take people by quarter, total points, whatever you want. So we're just going to go player threes. We'll dive into all these as we're going.
Yep.
And how many threes are we thinking?
6+ for Damian Lillard. Which I think you might have to go to alternative.
Yeah, so again, I'm just looking at this. We see 2, 3, 4, 5 more, so we don't see it here. So we're going to go down the alternate line.
Yep.
And we're going to look for Damian Lillard, all threes, all the way at the bottom.
Yep. And I think it's over 5.5. And that should be...
Over 5.5 is -260.
Over.
Sorry, that's under. Over 5.5 is +188.
That's what I'm taking. Over 5.5, so 6+.
Yep.
+188.
Yep.
As I mentioned before about the units, this is something I would probably put 50 on each game if you're $100 better. If you were planning on put that solo, just because there's value in both of them. And I really do like Damian Lillard to come out tonight and have a big performance scoring the ball.
For sure. So that's just a straight player prop, no parlay.
No parlay.
Just a one-player prop.
I think the value on that is just tremendous. +182, was it?
188.
188 for Damian Lillard to
hit 6 or more.
6 threes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got it. That's 6 threes is a fucking lot.
Like you said,
it's a ton of threes.
He's not automatic, but he's greenlit from anyone. And once you step over the half-court line.
Yeah, that bitch takes 2 steps over and he pulls it. So I know he's going to get the shots up to fucking get to that number. It's just, is he going to knock them down at a high enough clip?
Yeah.
And,
something like I think about, too, is just like, are the Nuggets going to really say, like, all right, we were playing good team defense, but we got to start doubling this guy.
Yeah, but I think their strategy has been...
Let Dame do what Dame
Let him
does.
while out, but we're going to shut everyone single other person down.
And I agree with you on that, so that's why for my player prop, I'm just taking Dame Lillard on points. Okay. I was trying to look at McCollum a little bit. I was trying to look at a couple other players, but I'm taking 30 or more from Dame, and that's -260. Again, he can hit it from 3. Mid-range, he can do it all.
Yeah, he's going to go for a 40 clip tonight.
Yeah, so I'm hoping so. So especially because, again, they're favorites. They're at home.
And they got to win tonight.
They got to win. They're down 2-1, so...
They go down 3-1 going into Denver. I mean...
It's a problem.
It's a tough series to come back from, for sure.
And then we talked about him a little bit earlier, about Jokic and passing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to player assists, and I'm going to go 6 or more assists from Jokic. It's -196, so again, it should happen. And then, again, Jokic, he's a great all-around player. Is he a playmaker right now? No, but he's got a shot at triple-double every night. So I'm going to go to rebounds, and I'm just going to take 8 or more. That's minus 800. So again, really, we're not stretching anything here. But if we put a couple of these together, we start getting into the plus money, and where we add it even more to the plus money. I mean, with just these three bets right now, we're at plus 142. And on Denver, we actually talked about him too. I'm going to look at Michael Porter Jr.
Okay.
And, I think he is a budding scorer, a budding star in the NBA. I think in a couple of years, as long as he stays healthy.
Yep. Keeps getting stronger.
And with Murray not being there now, he's got even more weight on his shoulders. So I'm going to take him with 20 or more. Again, not a crazy bet. You're not expecting anything out of the ordinary for him.
Yep.
And altogether with those, I'm getting those 4 bets together plus 271.
Okay.
So again, you scale it back a little bit. You put a quarter of a unit, half a unit on it.
Yep.
But, you only need to hit one. You need to go 1 from 1 in all of these.
Yep.
To at least cover your money or make a little money.
100%.
So,
yeah, and I feel like you said, I think
prop.
those are all, as long as they play their averages.
Yeah.
And do what they've been doing this whole series, I think that's an easy bet to take.
Yeah. And again, we were talking about clearing these out. If you go right down to the bottom here, you just click the trash can, it'll clear the whole slip out.
Beautiful.
And we'll start fresh. We'll look at matchup number 3.
Yeah, move right on to that.
Yeah, so matchup 3 tonight. So when we start getting into the later slate of the day. And it's the 76ers and Wizards. So, this has been ultimately one-sided.
Yep.
And now it's looking like it's even worse. So right now, 7 o'clock game on ESPN. 76ers are up 2-0 heading to Washington. Sixers are -7 when we put this together. The over-under is 228.
Yep.
And it's looking like Russell Westbrook is hurt.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be out.
Yeah.
Which, if you ask me, I don't think that hurts the Wizards too much.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's one of those things where we've talked about it in the past. It's like they're obviously better when he's there.
Of course.
100%. But they just don't they don't play team basketball. He's never been that type of guy.
Yeah.
He just hounds the ball. He holds on to it too long. You got fucking Bradley Beal who can get you a 50-piece any night.
Yep.
And Russell, you're just trying to come up and pull up.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like he just forgets Bradley Beal's out there.
Yeah, pass the fucking ball, bro.
Yeah.
Like Bradley Beal is the best player on the team. He's the best scorer.
And I like Russell Westbrook's mentality and effort and tenacity and all those things. But I loved OKC before OKC was OKC. So watching them night in, night out, just go down the court and just not give the ball to KD drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Then drove James Harden crazy in Houston.
Yep.
And I'm sure
He
it's
drove
Bradley
them
Beal crazy too.
Yeah, he drove both of those guys out of OKC. James Harden's a little bit different of a story. He was budding. He was not as good coming into the league.
They were also stupid. They kept Serge Ibaka over him. I don't know what they were thinking.
But even so, I think that would ultimately came into a trade because as Harden's ego grew, he would have been like, I want the ball more. Yeah, he ain't gonna get it in OKC because Kevin Durant can't even touch the ball enough. Yeah. So he would have been out of there anyway.
Yep.
But back to I think that's why I think the Wizards tonight. That's what my pick is today.
Okay.
So it's a crazy pick, and these two I have a game bet, which isn't the game actually, but it's gonna be the Wizards first quarter. So these are two separate bets you can take. First quarter, they're plus 2.5. Okay. My take on this game is that the Wizards are gonna come out balling in the first half, possibly the first half. I really think it's just going to be the first quarter, and then the Sixers are just going to end up coasting through the game.
Okay.
So you take the first quarter plus 2.5 as my true value pick.
Okay.
But if you want to get a little risky, there's a bet in the FanDuel Sportsbook for first quarter win margin.
Okay.
It is. I would take the Wizards to win by 1 to 2 points, and it's plus 800.
Okay, so this is actually, you know what? Let's just switch over to FanDuel because this is even more advanced for me. I don't even know where these bets are. So let's go switch this back over to the Wizards, or for FanDuel for the Wizards stuff.
So you're gonna.
So we went to the Wizards game.
Yep.
And now where am I going from here?
You're gonna go to more.
Okay, so more.
And there should be a section there that says first quarter.
Yep. So first quarter. Okay.
Yep. And then you'll go through those tabs. There's a ton of different bets that you can
So like
take.
you said, here's the first quarter spread. It's plus 2.5 for the Wizards, minus 114. So it's about even money.
Yep.
But now we're gonna go even farther down.
Yes. And as I mentioned, the first quarter spread is the pick that I would take.
Yep.
But the juicy live bet
Yep.
is the Wizards 1-2 win margin.
Yep.
Plus 800.
Yeah, this is all right. So it dropped a little bit, plus 750 right now.
Beautiful.
When we're recording. Yeah.
FanDuel hears me. They know that shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, they needed to scale it back
They're like,
a little bit.
fuck, we got people betting the fucking first quarter win margin.
And this is something too we'll talk about in future episodes. When you like a bet, you need to, if you're an advanced bettor and you want to get better at this, you need to look at all the different ways you can make that bet and find the best odds for making that bet.
That's a huge thing that I speak about.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, we'll talk about more is just value.
Yes.
Is the value of it. I mean, you mentioned yesterday you liked the Hawks to absolutely blow out the Knicks when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And you liked them plus...
I took them 11 or more, to win by 11 or more.
And what was the odds on that? It was like plus 200 or 250?
Yeah.
If you think that's going to happen, that's just like the value in taking that is, as you mentioned, you made $150 more than if you just took them at minus 4.5. And all they have to do is win by 5 more points.
Yeah, and then
than what the spread is.
And to your point, though, here, just like looking at it, you were talking about for your first quarter spread, Wizards plus 2.5.
Yep.
So what you think will happen is that they'll either win outright.
Yep.
And that's where these get a little tricky. They'll either win outright, because with these spreads, the reason why the odds are so much lower is that you can win a multitude of ways. But the reason why you're getting 2.5 points is because there's a chance that 76ers are going to win by 1 point or 2 points.
Exactly.
So if you look down here, the first quarter margin, 76ers to win by 1 point or 2 point, plus 750.
Yeah.
Tie plus 1,500. Wizards to win by 1 or 2 plus 750.
Yeah.
So you put, half a unit on each of those or a quarter of a unit on each of those.
You're going to make money.
As long as it's within 2 points in the first quarter, which you think it's going to be, because that's what the
spread
line is from Vegas.
Yep.
Then there you go.
Yeah, I don't know if you got to watch the Celtics
Brooklyn
game last night.
No.
First quarter.
Yeah.
Celtics win margin 1-2 was plus 1,100.
Yeah.
I think it was Tatum hits a buzzer beater at the end of the quarter. They win by 1 point.
Yep.
Plus 1,100, lock it up, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, which the reason why these odds are so much higher on the win margin is because, there's a multitude of options. So when you get the quarter spread, Wizards plus 2.5, the Wizards could win the first quarter by 15, and you cover that. Where you don't on these margin ones. Exactly. That's why the odds are so much higher.
That's why
so I just want to be that clear for people. But
definitely.
So we're looking at the Wizards first quarter plus 2.5 is kind of the one that's probably more available for people. So that's the one you're kind of giving out.
That's the one I'm giving out.
But then also you're looking at you're saying the Wizards 1-2 plus 750. Yep. I like those.
Yeah, and then I have also, which is most likely available only on FanDuel Sportsbook, is a player prop.
Okay, let's get into that. So just real quick for the basic bets for the game, I like the under. I just think without Russell being there, I just think kind of again like last game, I think the 76ers are going to get up by so much, it's just going to slow down. Dwight Howard's going to be there getting fouls left and right, slowing the game down.
Yeah.
And I know slowing the game down usually means that the score goes up, but I just think that both these teams are just going to be, it's going to be their B unit for the 76ers, and it's going to be their A unit for Washington, which isn't saying much, unfortunately, for the Washington Wizards. So I think 228 is just too high.
I agree.
So
I do like the
I'm
under
going
too.
under on that. Now let's look at these player props.
All right. So this is a 2-person, 2-team parlay, if you want to call it that, player prop bet. Yep. And I have Ben Simmons over 9.5 rebounds.
Oh, okay. I got Ben Simmons in mine too, so okay. Over 9.5, so 10 or more, or do you want the alternate line where it's 9.5 and over?
That's one thing we could talk about shopping it. Because if there's separate odds and one's higher, then I would take either one of those.
Yep, that's a great point. So let's give this a look. So Ben's alternate over 9.5 is 134.
Plus or minus?
Plus 134. So he's plus 134 on over 9.5. But then if you scroll up 10 or more, 134.
Okay.
So same odds.
So, yep, same odds.
So it doesn't matter which one we put in. So let's go Ben, 10 or more rebounds.
Yep. And then go back to player points.
Okay, so we're going to go back to points.
I think.
Again, top ribbon up here. You can change what menu you're on.
Yep. And this one I would go to Bradley Beal alternative points.
Okay. Bradley Beal's on mine too for points. So not points, but alternate points. Yep.
And I think he's going for 40.
I know. I wasn't sure where to stop on it. Like, I just kept looking.
I kept going up too.
Yeah, because
I was like 40's a number.
Because right now, over 32 and a half is even money plus 100. So Vegas thinks it's going to be 33.
Yep.
But then when you start looking at these, Russell's probably not or is not playing. So you're like, how many really is Bradley Beal going to get with an extra 10 attempts?
Exactly.
12 attempts, whatever
15.
it is. Yeah, well,
he's
Russell.
chucking.
Yeah. So you're going to go over 39 and a half?
Over 39.
Yeah, over 39 and a half. So 40 or more is plus 390.
And those odds should equal like plus 1,000.
Yeah, plus right now is 1,093, so essentially 1,100.
Put fucking 500 on it.
Yeah, no, you're not.
I'm kidding. Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like the value in that. I think Simmons is gonna go out there and get a bunch of rebounds and assists.
Yeah.
I see Bradley Beal just getting up enough shots to give him 40. I mean, he's gonna be looking for himself to score. They don't have enough scoring.
Yep.
So he's gonna be looking for his shot more than anything.
Yeah, we're kind of on the same wavelength. So for my player prop, I'm going 35 or more, Bradley Beal.
Okay.
So again, plus 150 for that. So it scales it down a little bit, not the crazy odds that you were getting, but also don't need 40 points, just need 35 or more.
Yeah, I would even consider, for all the viewers out there, taking the 35 or more.
Yeah,
in my bet, you're probably still gonna get plus 700 or 800.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then I'm going to go opposite. So you went Ben rebounds. Ben Simmons rebounds. I'm going Ben Simmons assists.
Okay.
So 6 or more assists from Ben Simmons is minus 550. So again, nothing crazy out there. But again, when you start combining these, you get into those plus points.
Yep.
And then someone I think is a little sneaky that might be flying under the radar a little bit, but he's been playing well. At least from what I've seen. I guess I didn't really look at the box score from game 1 or game 2, but Harris. I had him in fantasy basketball this year, so maybe there's just a little bias. But again, 20 points or more from Tobias Harris. I think that the 76ers are going to be rolling, so I think Ben Simmons is just going to take it easy tonight. I think Embiid's going to take it easy tonight, especially with Embiid's history. Like, I think they're just going to try to rest him as much as they can.
Definitely.
So he might be playing Tobias Harris might be playing the 4 a little bit more than the 3, whatever it is. But again, minus 155 from FanDuel, minus 154 from FanDuel for 20 or more points. So again, it should be likely to happen. And then when you combine those 3, again, Bradley Beal plus 35 points, Ben Simmons plus 6 assists, Tobias Harris plus 20 points, you're getting up to plus 369.
369. That's good
369.
value.
That's
good value for that.
Yeah. So again, you scale it back a little bit, put a quarter of a unit in, and you might be able to win 1 unit if you get to plus 400. So
exactly.
With these player props, the numbers are never perfect, but you're just going to keep track. I mean, hopefully you're winning, so your bookies, your FanDuel's just paying you out every week, and you're loving life.
That's all it's about, cashing out.
Yep. So we got 3 games done.
Yep.
And we got the late game up. You want to kick it over to that? Let's go to the Jazz.
Yeah, let's go to the late matchup tonight.
Which I think is honestly one of the best matchups that we have so far. I don't know why. Maybe everyone's with me and I don't know it, but I just love the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, I've grown on them this year as well. I think Ja Morant's coming into his own as a player. He's developed a lot in his first 2 years in the league.
Better than Zion?
That's a tough one.
They get a steal in the draft?
They definitely got a steal in the draft.
Well, it was 1-2. We knew that. That's why the Knicks are so sick with R.J. Barrett, even though they had a great dunk the other night.
But that's what I mean. It's
Ja
like
Morant.
that class was just like, it could have sort of gone anyway. Obviously, Zion was going to be the number 1.
Yeah.
But ceiling-wise, I think Ja Morant's going to have a better career.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, right now. Like, who would you
Right now, it's competitive.
Right now? Yeah.
It's definitely competitive. I mean
Zion, did he make it last year? He made the play-in tournament, but I don't think he made it to the actual playoffs. Or did they get a series in last year? I can't remember.
No, they didn't get a series in last year.
So he hasn't been in the playoffs yet.
They actually did get to the bubble, and I think they lost every game in the bubble.
That's what I'm saying.
But truthfully, if you ask me, I would take take John Morant or Zion Williamson, I'm taking John Morant to build my team
for sure.
100%. I mean, he's just
you just have a guard for next.
You
10
know
years.
what you're getting.
And to your point from the previous thing that we were talking about, he's a playmaker.
Yeah, he's a guy.
He's a great point guard, but he's a playmaker.
Yep, and he's cocky, but he's humble at the same time. You know what I mean? He's cocky when he makes a play.
He's confident.
Yeah, he's confident when he makes a play. He's cocky when he makes a play. But he's also a great teammate. That's what I mean by being humble. He doesn't act like a superstar, even though he is.
Yeah.
His guys love him on his team. Not saying that Zion isn't either.
Yeah.
But with John Morant, you know you're getting a star point guard.
Yeah.
Zion, they were testing him out at the point guard this year in the Pelicans because they didn't know what the fuck to do with him.
Yeah.
Because he's an undersized 4.
Yeah, I mean, low key, if you're playing 2K, you can put him in the point guard spot, and I think he's pretty nice, and at least in
Dynasty did you see him this year? He was solid at the PG this year, but is that a longevity type career move? Is he just going to be a point guard moving forward everywhere he goes? Nah.
All right. So late game, 9:40 start. ESPN is 1-1 right now.
Yep.
And this is moving. This is where we at. We're in Memphis.
Yep.
Okay, so we're in Memphis.
Yeah.
Jazz are -5.5, even though they're on the road. Over under is 224, which I think when we talked last time, you were saying you were stone cold locking the over, and that was one of the easier bets we've seen in a while.
Yep.
Because they just was Mitchell's first game back, and the whole Jazz team was really clicking.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I was on the under in that one.
Oh, really?
I just thought the Jazz were gonna blow them out, and
I think I had the over then.
Yeah, you had the over.
Yeah, okay.
You had the over. I took the under because I thought the Grizzlies were just not going to be able to score against the Jazz, and
John Morant had 40.
Shit looked like a fucking all-star game.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like out there. I mean,
but
tonight I'm taking. I got the Grizzlies +5.5.
Okay.
I think last game the Jazz came out and played well offensively. Grizzlies did as well.
Yep.
But I think what they realized last game is that they need to play some sort of defense if they want to stay in the series.
Yep.
Because if the Jazz come out tonight and blow them out again, I think that's just it hurts their morale. I think it's gonna be devastating for them after they won the first game, and then Donovan Mitchell returns and then they get blown out 2 games in a row. I just don't see the Grizzlies being able to bounce back, period, if they lose tonight. So they got to keep it close.
Yeah, to your point, even though it's 1-1 right now, they're kind of they're in the driver's seat because they stole one on the road.
Yep.
So they're returning home. They have 2 games at home now. If they win both, they go up 3-1. They're in a commanding lead. So, especially with the younger, if they win this one and they win the next one, they go back to Utah up 3-1.
Yeah.
Tonight if they win, right, they're up 2-1. And when you're a younger team like the Memphis Grizzlies are, you can't be going down. You have to stay ahead, and that's to your point. They're going to be pushing the pace. You're taking Memphis. I'm going back to the well. I like the over last game. It was super easy. I think I'm going back to the over again. It's 224.5.
Yep.
I agree with you that some team needs to play defense. I just don't think it's going to happen.
No,
I think John Morant's going to have a great night. I think Mitchell's going to have a great night.
Yeah, and when I say they got to play defense, they just can't let the Jazz score 140 again. So this game could be 120, 110, and that goes clear over.
Yeah, that's not right. That's really not even that
close. And that's
close.
40 points off.
Over.
Yeah, that's 40 points off what they had last game.
Yeah.
But the Grizzlies just need to play a little bit more defense. But it's tough to do because they play a fast-paced game. They move the ball up the court quick, and they look to get shots up. So the over, I mean, I agree with that as well tonight. I just don't see either team being able to play enough defense to.
Are you taking it? Are you putting it on your card? Not putting it on your card?
Putting it on my card. I'm taking the Grizzlies +5.5.
But I'm happy I got your vote of confidence on that. Speaking of vote of confidence, just look at the public betting.
Yep.
So, again, a little concerning, but not too much. 60% of the money's on the over.
Yeah.
So, what's nice is that here it's saying the over-under is 222. So, I'm getting 2 more points when we put this together, so that's lovely. And then the Utah Jazz is 70% of the money's on the Jazz.
Yep.
So that's nice for your Memphis pick.
Yep.
30% of the money's on them.
Just to show you that, and this is something I think we'll discuss on the next episode, is one thing that a lot of people look at is reverse line movement.
Yeah, that's
what that over-under is looking like just when you described it to me.
Yeah.
So we'll dive in a little bit deeper into that in episode 3, and we'll have a little discussion about what reverse line movement is and how that can potentially be a strategy for you to bet moving forward.
Yeah, I think at some point when we were betting college football, it's like we were just looking at the whole slate and we were just taking reverse line movement games
all day.
And it was just like those were going to be our 3 bets for all of college football.
I remember the one game was we went up to Albany and bet it was that Michigan-Indiana game.
Yeah.
And Indiana absolutely dominated front to back. Michigan had no shot.
Everyone was on Michigan.
Yep. It was in Michigan.
Yep.
And Indiana just fucking cruised. And we should have took it money line. It was like plus 200.
We should have tripled down on it because it was just so easy.
Yeah, I remember we went up and we put like 500 a pop on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have bet more because that was just one of all-time easy bets.
Yeah.
But for this game, let's wrap this up. So we have. Do you have any player props? I know I have a 4-person player prop.
Jesus, go into that one. I have a single player prop bet that I'll do after that, but you could slide right into that one.
Okay, so let's clear this out from last time. So for our game tonight, so again, if you're ever on an old game you want to get back, so just hit NBA on the left. And that brings you all your basketball games. We're going to click more wagers for the Memphis Grizzlies. And we're looking at, just for me, points and rebounds. Because in this game, you have 2 guys, one on each team, that I think are going to get you your points. And then on rebounds, you have 1 guy on each team that's going to get you rebounds.
Okay.
So for points, we're going to go 20 or more for Donovan Mitchell. Again, first game back, he looked good. I think he's just going to keep it flowing.
Yep.
And to your point, they know they're more seasoned team. They know like they're going to need to win one of these games.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have to get the series back.
Yep.
And 25 or more, we're going to take Ja Morant. Again, both of those are favorites, so they're negative. But again, when you start putting these together, you're going to get to the positives, which is great. And they're going to go to player rebounds. And you're going to they're both going to be 10 or more. And it's going to be Rudy Gobert and Valanciunas. They're going to be battling all night, but they're going to be getting their rebounds. When you look at it together, you put all 4 of those together. So again, Mitchell over 20, Ja Morant over 25, Gobert 10 or more rebounds, Valanciunas 10 or more rebounds. You get an even, or a plus 222 straight, plus 222.
For all 4 of those?
For all 4 of those. So again, they're all favorites. Rudy Gobert's minus 2,000 on the rebounds, so you could probably kick it up to 12 or more, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Just because, again, with all these player prop ones, I'm not trying to stretch it. I'm not looking for plus 1,000, plus 2,000. Yeah. I know you have some there that I actually really like, so I might tail you on those. But I'm just looking to take 3 or 4 things that should happen if everyone plays a full game. Everything goes the way you're expecting. And then, again, you just turn into plus money. You're just up 2 units on it. So
yeah. And I agree with that logic, because mine are definitely a little bit more of long shots where it's things that need to occur out of the ordinary, while yours are ones that, if you take the statistical edge that they have, they should happen on every given night. That's what they average. That's where they should be. And also looking at the game itself, you would see that would occur most likely. Yeah,
and again, if this were a 3 slate game night, you just need one of these to hit and you're okay.
Yep.
You're at least breaking even. With this, because most of these are plus 200 and you're putting 4 games in, you're going to need 2 of these to hit. But again, it's nothing too crazy in these. So you just have a 1-person one. So let's clear a betting slip over here and let's look at yours. What do you like tonight?
I like Dylan Brooks points.
Yep, he was
a little bit of a long shot, but he's been playing real well. I think he's going to come out and score again. Because Ja Morant normally gets the focus, and he's just a guy that can put him up. But I have his alternative points over 24.5.
Okay.
Dylan Brooks, and I think it was like plus 280, 290.
Yeah, so 24.5 overs plus 240 right now.
240? I mean, it was 290, 285 it says before. So, I like that. So,
yeah, if you put it in a little earlier. But again, to your point, it's going well. So, again, just to shop a little bit, it makes really no difference at the end of the day. But Dylan Brooks over 24.5, so you need 25 or more is plus 240. If you go up to FanDuel and use like a 25 or more general books plus 245.
There you go.
So you get 5 extra.
Yep.
Points
5 extra
on it.
bucks, it's worth it in the long run. Those all add up.
Exactly. So again, just shopping, trying to be a little smarter. That's just a good example of that. And then yeah, I mean those are the 4 games for tonight. We kind of showed you some of the FanDuel stuff. We're definitely gonna be talking more about like individual topics. I think reverse line movement, and we'll talk more about public betting next episode.
Yep.
But again, if you guys have anything you like tonight, let us know. You guys have any insights on what you want us to talk about on this podcast? We're kind of here to just get a conversation going.
Yep.
Interact with a few different people that are either doing YouTube videos, doing their own content, or just regular gamblers. If you're in upstate New York, let us know.
Yeah,
We're gonna be at rivers. We're gonna be at resorts.
Yeah,
we'd love
to link up. We'd love to have a conversation with you in regards to sports betting. As Greg mentioned, I think we'll over the next episodes that we decide to record, we're going to discuss a ton of different topics. If there's anything you can think of that you'd want us to talk about and get our point of view on it, we'd love it. We're probably going to end up doing a couple casino sportsbook reviews over the next couple months to give you a better look into what they have to offer. If you're in New York, or if you're coming to New York to check out the casinos, we'll give you a little background on those.
If you're intimidated by anything we talked about today and you're just getting into this, let us know, and we'll put together a couple of videos of just very basic stuff.
Exactly.
For you guys. This way it'll be a quick, much quicker 5, 10, 20-minute video.
Yep.
And just explaining just the entry-level stuff. It's really whatever you guys want to see. So.
Yeah, just a basic overview, but, we appreciate everyone that took the time to listen. This is our first time live streaming onto YouTube.
Yeah, check us out on YouTube. That's where we're really going to be pushing this stuff.
Yeah, so we look forward to discussing more. And thanks for listening to the SportsBook Sports Podcast, all things sports betting.